I'm Peter Whitmore, 73 years old, and what I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes is something I truly wish someone had grabbed me by the collar and forced me to hear when I was younger. I'm not exaggerating, so stay with me. Don't skip ahead, because when you really stop and think about these things, they hit differently. Over the years, I've watched people, myself included, ruin perfectly decent lives over the same handful of mistakes. Not dramatic mistakes that make headlines, quiet ones, the kind that slowly eat away at you for 10, 20, even 30 years, until one day you look around and realize you're nowhere near where you thought you'd be. Here are 10 of them, and I promise at least 3 will make you uncomfortable. First, treating your body like it will send you an invoice later. It won't send an invoice, it sends a verdict. I smoked from age 16 to 44, 28 years. Not because I enjoyed it toward the end, but because quitting felt like too much trouble. You know what's worse trouble? A cardiologist telling you at 57 that your arteries look like rusty pipes. Most people in their 30s and 40s think their body isn't keeping score. It is. Every skipped meal replaced with junk food, every night of 4 hours of sleep, every year spent sitting instead of moving. Your body remembers everything. Second, choosing comfort over honesty with the people closest to you. My brother Ray and I didn't speak for 11 years. 11 years over something so small I'm almost embarrassed to say it. Instead of having one honest conversation, I froze him out completely. Holidays passed. His kids grew up without knowing their uncle, all because my pride was louder than my honesty. We finally reconciled when his wife called me from the hospital before his surgery. 11 years of silence fixed in a 40-minute conversation. That's how pointless pride can be. Third, comparing your life to people who aren't even playing the same game. In the 1980s, my neighbor bought a beautiful boat. I couldn't afford one, and every Saturday I'd stand at my window feeling like a failure. The funny thing, I didn't even want a boat. I got seasick, but somehow my brain turned his purchase into proof that I was falling behind. Behind who? Behind what? There was no race. I invented one and then felt bad about losing it. Fourth, waiting to do important things when life calms down. Life never calms down. It just changes. For 15 years I told myself I'd learn to play the piano. Next year, I said. Then something else came up. Work, bills, family, repairs. Suddenly I was in my late 60s and realized I had been waiting for a perfect moment that never existed. I finally started lessons at 68. I'm terrible at it, truly terrible. My instructor once told me I play like someone walking on ice, but I'm terrible and happy. And that's far better than spending decades waiting. Fifth, holding on to a version of yourself that expired years ago. I was a high school wrestler. I used to bring it up at dinner parties even in my 50s. One day my daughter gently reminded me that it happened 35 years ago. She was right, memories are fine, but when your past achievements become your entire identity, you stop growing. Sixth, surrounding yourself with people who only show up when things are good. For years I had a group of friends I played cards with. Lots of laughs, good times, but when my business partner disappeared with our money, not one of them called to check on me. Not one. That's when you learn the difference between social companions and real friends. Seventh, letting resentment become your default setting. For years, I carried anger toward that business partner. I talked about it everywhere, barbecues, dinners, anywhere someone would listen. One day, my wife said, "Peter, you're letting that man live rent-free in your head." She was right. Resentment doesn't punish the person who hurt you. It only poisons your own days. Eighth, treating every disagreement like a battle you have to win. I once argued with my son all summer about his college major. I wanted business or engineering, something practical. He wanted art history. I showed him data, salaries, spreadsheets. He listened politely, then studied art history anyway. Today he works at a museum and loves what he does. Meanwhile, I spent months damaging our relationship over a decision that was never mine to control. Ninth, confusing being busy with being productive. For decades, I wore busyness like a medal. 60-hour work weeks, weekends in the office, always rushing. But looking back, half of that time was wasted motion, meetings that didn't matter, tasks I refused to delegate, endless activity with very little real progress. Being busy isn't the same as having purpose. And finally, number 10, waiting for some future version of your life before you start appreciating the one you already have. In my 30s, I waited for my 40s. In my 40s, I waited for my 50s. In my 50s, I waited for retirement. Then retirement came, and I realized I had spent decades waiting for life to begin instead of actually living it. Every stage of life has something worth noticing. The quiet moments in your house, a good meal, a day where nothing goes wrong. Those aren't small things. Those are the real substance of life. Look, I haven't figured everything out. Even at 73, I still catch myself making some of these mistakes. But now, at least I recognize them. And that's what I'm offering you today. Not perfection, just a head start. Pick one of these 10 mistakes, just one that made you uncomfortable, and do something about it this week. One phone call, one honest conversation, one small change. Because real change doesn't happen in explosions. It happens in small adjustments. And that's all I've got for today.